Hello, Mrs. Hoganson's kindergarten class. I just have a fun read aloud for us. Do you remember this book? Betty Bunny Loves Chocolate Cake. This is one of my favorites, and I thought I'd read it this week because we've been talking about cause and effect. And cause and effect happens a lot in this story. What causes her cake to crumble in her sock? What causes Betty Bunny to get mad and throw her peas at her brother? All kinds of things happen in this story that we can link to cause and effect. So sit back and listen to this story as you think about our skill of the week. Betty Bunny loves chocolate cake. Betty Bunny was a handful. She knew this because her mother always said, "Betty Bunny, you are a handful." And her father always said, "Your mother's sure right about that." Betty Bunny knew that her mother and her father loved her, so being a handful must be a really good thing. One day after a healthy dinner of carrots, potatoes, and peas, Mother said, "Who wants dessert?" Betty Bunny was not very good at trying new things, and she announced, "Ugh, chocolate cake? I hate chocolate cake. Chocolate cake is yucky. Mommy, what's chocolate cake?" So her mother gave her a piece and Betty Bunny tried it. It was the yummiest thing she had ever put in her mouth. "When I grow up," she said, "I'm going to marry chocolate cake." "You can't marry a dessert," said her brother Henry. "You can marry a baker who makes you chocolate cake," added her sister Kate. "Or you could just buy her a cake at the store. Then you don't have to marry anyone," said their older brother Bill. Betty Bunny thought about that for a while. "No," she finally said, "I'm going to marry chocolate cake." "Whatever," said Bill, "but you're going to have weird-looking kids." That night, Betty Bunny's mother kissed her goodnight and tucked her in. "Good night, Betty Bunny. I love you," she said. Betty Bunny looked up into her mother's eyes and said, "Good night, Mommy. I love chocolate cake." The next day at school, Betty Bunny's teacher said, "Good morning, Betty Bunny. How are you today?" Betty Bunny said, "I am a handful and I love chocolate cake." Her teacher said, "A is for apple, B is for ball, C is for cat." Betty Bunny said, "A is for chocolate cake, B is for chocolate cake, C is for chocolate cake." During playground time, Betty Bunny tried to make chocolate cake by mixing together water and dirt. It looked a little bit like chocolate cake, but it did not taste very much like chocolate cake, and Betty Bunny started to cry. "I want my chocolate cake," she cried. Her teacher told her that they had no chocolate cake at school. Betty Bunny said, "Oh, then I don't like school. School is yucky." After school, her mother drove her home. "How was your day today?" she asked her. "I ate some mud," said Betty Bunny, very unhappily. "I want chocolate cake." Sometimes, her mother explained, you can't always have what you want right away. You have to wait. That's called having patience. "I don't want patience," said Betty Bunny. "I want chocolate cake." That night at dinner, her mother told Betty Bunny that she could not have dessert until she finished her healthy dinner. Usually, Betty Bunny really liked healthy food, but not tonight. Tonight, all she wanted was her chocolate cake. Her father told her, "Don't come to me expecting a different answer." Henry said, "If you're smart, you would just eat your peas." Kate said, "You should just try some carrots. They make cake out of carrots too, you know." Bill said, "Why don't you just go get some chocolate cake? That's what you really want." "Oh, wait, you can't. Ha ha." Betty Bunny got mad. See what caused her to get mad? Yet, Bill. Now Bill is going to get the effect of Betty Bunny getting mad. Betty Bunny picked up some peas. She threw them at Henry. She threw some carrots at her sister Kate. And worst of all, she threw some mashed potatoes at Bill. They stuck to his forehead. Everyone was shocked. Even Betty Bunny was shocked. She really hadn't meant to do something that awful. Mother was not happy that Bill had just teased his sister, but she was even less happy with Betty Bunny. She told Betty Bunny to go straight to bed, that there would be no chocolate cake tonight. Betty Bunny screamed, "Well, then this family is yucky." Then she remembered that she was hungry, so she crammed her mouth full of peas and carrots and mashed potatoes and ran off to bed. When her mother came into her room that night to kiss her and tuck her in, she told Betty Bunny, "Sweetheart, you know I still love you." "Mommy," Betty Bunny said, "you know I love chocolate cake." Just thinking about that chocolate cake made her want to eat it. And knowing she couldn't have it made her cry. That made her scream. Then that made her kick a wall, which hurt her foot, which made her cry all over again. Wow, I have to pause for a second, kindergarten. There was a lot of cause and effect in that page. It seems like thinking about the cake made her cry. That's the cause and the effect. But because she was crying, she started to scream. That's another cause and effect. Because she was screaming, she got so uncomfortably mad that she kicked a wall. And the last cause and effect is that when she kicked the wall, her foot hurt. That's the last cause and effect on that page. "Betty Bunny," her mother said as she rubbed her little bunny's foot, "I'm going to put a piece of chocolate cake on a plate in the refrigerator. It will be your piece of chocolate cake. You can have it tomorrow after you eat a healthy dinner. Maybe if you know it's there waiting for you, it'll be easy for you to be patient." Betty Bunny stopped crying. She liked this idea, so she wanted to say something especially nice to her mom. "Mommy," she said, "you're a handful." The next morning, Betty Bunny wanted to say goodbye to her piece of cake before she left for school. So she opened the refrigerator and saw her piece of cake sitting there on the plate. It looked lonely. Betty Bunny knew that the cake would miss her all day while she was at school, so she picked it up and she put it in her pocket. Now, most of us have read this before, so we know what the effect is of her putting this cake in her pocket. At school, her teacher said, "Betty Bunny, you seem very happy today." Betty Bunny just giggled. There was chocolate cake in her pocket and nobody knew it but her. As Betty Bunny finished munching her last carrot at dinner that night, her mother smiled. "Betty Bunny," she said, "you were patient. You waited all day for your chocolate cake. You ate a good dinner. I'm so proud of you. Would you like to go get your cake now?" Betty Bunny reached inside her pocket. Her cake was gone, and instead of cake, her pocket was filled with a goopy brown mess. "My cake!" Henry said, "I can't believe you put cake in your pocket." Kate said, "Betty Bunny, food does not go in your pocket." Bill said, "Guess you can't marry that piece of cake now." Her mother got her a new piece of cake and she explained that putting cake in your pocket is not the same as being patient. Betty Bunny finally understood the lesson. So she promised from now on she would be patient. So the next morning, when Betty Bunny opened the refrigerator to say goodbye to her new piece of cake, she remembered that she couldn't put it in her pocket and bring it to school. And that is why, very carefully, she stuffed it into her sock. The end. Thank you for listening to our story today.